What's going on, y'all? My name is Trey Divorce. This is the Infinity World Morning Show, the best freaking morning show in the Southeast, man. I hope everybody's waking up feeling good, feeling blessed, and feeling highly, highly favored. I'm feeling good, I'm feeling blessed, and I'm feeling highly favored and tired, man. Shout out to Juju and Tobias. They threw a function at at their house yesterday. And it was really fun. It was Juju's birthday, man. I had a couple of shots. When I tell y'all my body's on recovery mode right now, I'm still tired. I'm still trying to wake up. You feel me? My body's still trying to recoup. So shout out to them. It was really fun. But y'all already know what time it is. Y'all see the topic. You feel me? We're gonna talk about the physical symptoms that happens to you when you're going through mental health problems. We're talking about the physical symptoms that happens to you when you're going through the mental health problems. So, well, the physical things that happens to you when you're going through depression, the physical symptoms that happens to you when you're going through stress, the physical symptoms to you that happens to you when you're going through anxiety. You feel me? So we're gonna talk about those things, man. So let's get to it. Let's see what you gotta say. So, anxiety is more than worry. 10 scary physical symptoms. Let's get to it.
If you're anxious in your head, you can worry, but not all anxious people worry. There's some pretty scary physical symptoms associated with anxiety, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. I'm Dr. Tracy Marks, a psychiatrist, and I talk about mental health, education, and self-improvement. I produce weekly videos, so click subscribe so you don't miss one. I'll jump right in. You can think of anxiety as having two parts, a cognitive or thinking portion and a somatic or physical portion. If your anxiety is affecting your thoughts, you may worry a lot or you may obsess about things. And it's normal to have some amount of worry. Let's say you fail a test, are you going to get an F in the whole class? Or how will you pay your bills if you don't have a job? Things like that. But the worry that could be
I'm glad she said that because a lot of people just be going through, regular problems. You feel me? And like you just going through something right now. It's gonna pass. You feel me? You just going through something right now, but they're gonna say, "No, I got anxiety. I got anxiety. I got anxiety, bro. You don't got no anxiety. You just got something. You got a little problem that you just need to get through. But it's definitely not anxiety. So I'm glad that she said that.
considered a disorder would be worrying about anything and everything, even if it's not a direct threat to you. And I always use the example of worrying about world peace. You can also over-worry about things that are a threat to you, such as a home invasion. This can happen to anyone, but if it's always on your mind and you can't stop thinking about it, and other more pleasant thoughts get blocked out because you're thinking about it, then it's over and above what would be expected or what would be an expected response from someone without an anxiety disorder. A person can have anxiety without much going on in their heads in terms of distressing thoughts and still have pretty severe anxiety. Here are some of the physical symptoms that they can experience, and they're not necessarily in order of severity. So you have heart palpitations. This is where you can feel your heart beating in your chest. And at rest, you should not feel your heart muscle contracting. If you do, it's palpitations. Shortness of breath, or feeling like you can't breathe. Lightheadedness or dizziness, and this is different from vertigo or spinning. This sensation, you may feel that the room is getting dark or you're going to lose consciousness at any moment. Then there's weak legs. Some people will say that they feel like their legs are just going to give way. Then there's chest and back.
I'm not gonna lie, I got all these symptoms. The weak legs is crazy. I never thought having weak legs got something to do with anxiety. I mean, I guess that makes sense. Like now that I really think about it, yeah, that makes sense.
Pressure. Sometimes people will feel like they not only have chest pressure, but they also have pressure in their back. So it's like they're just being crushed from the outside. There's neck and shoulder pain, and this is usually from muscle tension, but it can be so painful that you may not make the association at the time. And so if you feel pain in your shoulder, you may think that you're having a heart attack. especially if you're one who tends to Google your symptoms. Then there's headaches. And
Is the video lagging to y'all? Leave in the comments if the video kind of lagging to y'all.
heat coming from the top of your head and your ears. I include this one as a scary one because often people will think something is seriously wrong with me, because that's not something people commonly say that they have. There's trouble swallowing, and this can be really scary. And this is not necessarily your throat closing, which you could see with a severe allergic reaction. It's usually more of just a lump in your throat when you swallow. And then there's cloudy, blurry, or tunnel vision. And usually anything visual can be quite frightening and not something you associate with anxiety, but it can be anxiety. So think of these physical symptoms as similar to what you would feel if a bear broke into your house and growled at you and stood on its hind legs. You'd probably feel your heart pounding, and you may even feel like you're just gonna collapse and all kind of other things. Well, think about it. People with anxiety can feel this way all the time, even when they're sitting on a beach on vacation. With these symptoms, you don't have to have a trigger or reason to feel anxious. It can just come upon you. Keep in mind, all of these symptoms can be a part of another medical disorder. So you always want to see your doctor to make sure that something else isn't going on before you assume it's anxiety. In other words, if you've never had these symptoms before and now you start having them, medical problems should be ruled out first before someone concludes it's anxiety. What if it is an anxiety disorder?
Yo, like, my heart is palpitating right now. My heart is palpitating right now. Man. And it's funny that it's crazy that she said, like, it could happen just like it could just happen. There could be no reason. It could just happen just because it's happening. And you feel me? A lot of people be asked, like, not a lot of people, some people ask me, like, what's going on? Why you feeling like this? And I don't know. Like, it just happens. Like, the feeling just happens. Like, I don't know. I was good like a couple seconds ago. Like, it just hit me. I don't know. Like, so, like, it's you feel me? Like, I'm glad that she said that.
There's therapy options and or medication, natural remedy options. How you treat it depends on the severity and the type of symptoms that you have. That's it for now. Thanks for making it all the way to the end. Don't forget to subscribe. See you soon.
Shout out to Dr. Tracy Marks. So that was the physical symptoms of anxiety. So now we're going to look at the physical symptoms of stress.
This is Marshall Boyd with Hair Restoration Specialist. We have been the leader in hair transplants for the past 4 decades.
Signs your body is stressed. That's what I'm talking about today. I'm Dr. Tracy Marks. If you're new to this channel, I talk about mental health education and self-improvement. I publish new videos every Wednesday, so if you don't want to miss one, click subscribe and hit the notification button. Even if you think you're handling your stress well.
Now, stress, I feel like, don't y'all think stress and anxiety kind of goes together in a way? But my whole life, I've been hearing stress is a killer. Stress will kill you. You feel me? Like, stress is a disease. Like, stress will kill you. So you better be careful. Manage your stress and don't try to stress too much, because you will die. Like, you feel like, I wonder why we don't take stress more serious. Like, I feel like stress should be like a real big topic, like, that we talk about, that we should talk about.
Your body could tell you otherwise. And in this video, I'm going to give you 7 not so typical signs that your body is stressed. So how does your body respond to stress? Well, cortisol and adrenaline are 2 chemicals that are secreted in the body under stress. Adrenaline is the fight or flight hormone, and cortisol metabolizes sugar in the body to make it accessible to the brain. cortisol also suppresses the body's immune response. So typical signs of stress include things like high blood pressure, poor sleep, racing hearts and heart rate, and these are the things that are related to adrenaline. Some of the atypical symptoms are things like teeth grinding, or also called bruxism. And this involves clenching your jaw or grinding your teeth back and forth. And this can happen at any time. And you may notice that you, say, wake up with pain, or you could even wake up with a headache if you're doing this at night. And
Dang, I got anxiety and stress. Sheesh.
sometimes too much teeth grinding can cause cracked teeth. Unfortunately, tooth grinding can be worsened if you have acid reflux. Wearing a bite guard at night can help, and you can get one specially fitted by a dentist, or you could buy a generic one at a drugstore. I've had both. The generic ones could be big and it could be hard to fit in your mouth, and you gotta even work hard to close your mouth down. And the custom ones though, they're pricey, but they are much better because they fit your mouth. Number 2, poor digestion. When your body's stressed, you can get decreased motility and slowed digestion. So this can feel like you get a stomach ache or some type of stomach pain or gas or bloating every time you eat. Slowed digestion can also lead to constipation. Why? Because as your food moves through the gastrointestinal tract and through your intestine, it absorbs water. So if you've got slowed movement, your intestines are still drawing out water from the food or the fecal matter. So if it moves too slowly and you absorb too much water, then you can get hard stools. So even if you don't have hard stools, what this could end up looking like is that you don't have a bowel movement very often. So instead of having one every 1 to 2 days, if you eat every day, it should move through. So if you don't have one every 1 to 2 days, maybe you have a bowel movement every 3 or 4 days. So infrequent bowel movements and or hard stool and or stomach aches after you eat and things could be a sign that you're stressed. Another sign is sore muscles. Stress causes the muscles to tense up, and you can get aches and pains in places like your neck and your back, even without much activity. So you can get to the end of the day and just feel exhausted, and even achy and sore when all you did was sit all day. You can help this by taking stretch breaks, and also yoga is a powerful way to reduce stress. Next, your hair. Chronic stress increases cortisol levels, which promotes inflammation and free radical damage, and this can result in increased or accelerated graying of your hair. But hair loss is different. Alopecia areata is an
Man, you see, I got gray all in my beard coming in. Yo, I'm sitting here listening to her say the symptoms. I'm like, damn, yeah, that be happening to me. Yeah, I got that too. Yeah, yeah. Damn. I'm stressed out here. But yeah, I'm stressed out here. It's crazy how the human body works. It is crazy how the human body works and how the human body reacts to things. You feel me? It's mind blowing to me sometimes.
Immune disorder that results in hair loss. And this can just kind of go and come and fluctuate over time and is not really related to stress. However, you can get excessive hair shedding because of stress, and sleep loss can also disrupt the hair's life cycle, leading to shedding. But the shedding makes your hair thinner versus what you see with alopecia, where you get clean spots, usually circular spots of hair loss. Next, weight gain. Chronic sleep loss also causes increased cortisol levels that affects your weight. And this may not look like you packed on 50 pounds because of it, but it may be more subtle weight gain, like weight that just kind of creeps up on you and you just can't seem to lose despite exercising regularly and having a healthy diet. Number 6, frequent colds.
And y'all be skinny
High
fat.
cortisol levels suppress your immune system, so that can make you more acceptable to getting sick often. Are you someone who always seems to get sick every time it's flu season? Having a suppressed immune system also can activate or trigger dormant viruses like shingles, which is the herpes virus, or cold sores. So having an eruption of shingles or having frequent cold sores could be a sign that you're under a lot of stress. Last one.
Wait, shingles is a herpes virus? I thought you get shingles if you had chicken pox. Or am I wrong? Dang, I didn't know that.
No sex drive. Increased cortisol suppresses sexual arousal. One solution, or one thing that can help, is exercise. Engaging in 30 minutes of aerobic exercise 5 days a week noticeably reduces stress and lowers cortisol levels. So these are some telltale signs of stress that show you that your body's trying to get your attention, that you're under a lot of stress, and this is its reaction to it. If you have one or more of these signs, you need to work on managing your stress. You certainly don't always have control over your stressors, the things that's causing the stress, but what you can have more control over is how you manage it. I've mentioned 2 ways to do this, the exercise and yoga. Another good way is using mindfulness meditation. I did a previous video on this and I'll link to it in the corner for you to watch. Try incorporating that into your day as just one more tool in your toolkit to help you manage and reduce stress. Thanks for watching. Leave me a comment, and if you like this video,
Shout out again to Dr. Tracy Marks. And yeah, I'm not when I'm feeling real stressed out and I'm going through all those symptoms that she that she was talking about. I just go play basketball. That's the reason why I started playing basketball again, because I was always stressed out. Like, man, I was always stressed out. I couldn't sleep. I didn't want to eat. You feel me? Like I always was sleeping. I feel like I didn't have no energy. And it wasn't until I just got up, got outside, and went to play basketball. Usually I ain't playing basketball unless it's in the gym. You feel me? But I seen a basketball park, nice, look like they just built it. And I'm like, you know what? Let me just go hoop. Shout out to Outdoor Train. I record my hoop training sessions. But I was like, you know what? Let me just go hoop. And then ever since then, I started getting my energy back. I started getting my sex drive back. You feel me? But most importantly, I just started getting my energy back. I started wanting to eat again. I got my appetite back. So exercise definitely helps. And mental health, it just doesn't affect, up there, but it affects your whole body. We got to understand that. We need to understand that it affects our whole body. And like I said earlier, stress kills, and we all heard that before. But our next video is
I picked the software engineering program because they pay very well. It's a fast-paced industry. The boot camp allowed me to keep my job, honestly, and continue working.
His name is Curtis Jasper, and he did a TED Talk on the black male health struggle. I only watched like first 2 minutes of it, so I really don't know what he gonna really say. So we gonna all see what he about to say as a family. So let's get to it.
Death, depression, divorce, debt, devastation, deadbeat, despair. There is a black male mental health struggle. I became a therapist in therapy. The unsustainability of black male trauma, black male rage, black male resentment is a real thing, an unsustainable thing. So what's the struggle? 1 in 4 psychologists are black. And when I say black, I mean that includes black men and black women. According to the American Psychological Association, 4% psychologists worldwide, in this country, are black. For every 100,000 black Americans, only 1 black psychiatrist. 7% of black men received any form of mental health services in the last couple years. Right? Black youth, particularly black boys, are introduced with the struggle of mental health at a very early age. It's treated in elementary school by suspensions or special education referrals. What's the black struggle? That's it. The inadequacy of practitioners who look like black men, who have a unique experience with mental health. Right? What does that mean for all of us? The current mental health industry does not sustain black male trauma, black male rage, black male resentment, which means we have to look at the factors that are uniquely attributed to black males in this country. What makes me qualified to talk about black male mental health struggle? Well, beyond the obvious of being a black male, I crashed in 2008, the year the mortgage industry crashed, the real estate market, right? That same year, my mother informed me she had stage 4 cancer. In 2009, I became a father for the 4th time. But this time was unique because the child was already 21 years old, which means right before my 17th birthday, I had a child. In 2010, my mother ended up passing away from cancer. I moved her from Chicago to Georgia before the diagnosis to live out her golden years under the sun of the South, to work with me and for me. She ended up passing. In 2011, I went to what I now label as a very eventful divorce. I lost everything. I walked away from everything. I lost my family, my spouse at the time away from the children, assets, things of that nature. In 2000,
Sheesh. Man, bro was going through it. Bro was going through it. Sheesh. And as I was like watching this video, I just want to say, dude, I just want to ask, like, do y'all think like it's good that he's up there, and you know it's good that we get to see him and hear him talk about black male mental health, because a lot of times we could feel like nobody wants to help us, nobody wants to listen, nobody cares, and to be honest with you, nobody really don't care. So we need to care about each other. So it's really good that he's up there, you know, that he cares for his fellow black males. He went through a lot. Sheesh.
2012, I experienced my very first panic attack. Found myself in the middle of a public park here in Atlanta, lying on my back, crying profusely for what seems like hours. In 2000,
I know. Don't get mad that I keep pausing this video. But when he talk about panic attacks, panic attacks is so real, so real, so real, and it's important that's why it's important that we need to get our mental health straight. I remember I had a panic attack in front of my daughter, and my baby mom and my girl at the time. I had a panic attack right in front of them, and like my daughter was so scared. And my girl at the time, my baby mom, she was so scared. You feel me? I remember I had a panic attack in front of my mom. You feel me? Like those panic attacks is real. Some of them panic attacks, I feel like I'm about to die. Like I feel like I'm about to die sometime about them panic attacks. So, man, I feel them on that.
2013, I had my second panic attack. This one was different. This one, I was with the partner at the time, and she said that she overheard me saying some things that were troubling. Later on that day, I had a special event I needed to be at. My friend at the time took me to the local emergency room because as black males, that is how we address our mental health struggles, right? When it really gets to a point, we have to see someone at the local hospital emergency room. So, of course, they kept me 72 hours, suicide watch. I missed the court date. My partner at the time took the signed medical excuse to court at the time that I was supposed to report. The judge refused it, subsequently generating a bench warrant, and I eventually had to address that. That same year, 2013, my father passed, just when we were attempting to repair a 40-plus year fragmented, fragile, broken relationship. He passed. Went to Chicago, did the mourning, came back to Atlanta. 2 days after mourning my dad's death, I was pulled over by local law enforcement. I had to settle that warrant from a few months earlier. So for the next 57 days, I sat in a jail cell, in a jumpsuit, grieving what I thought initially was only my father's death. What I now know was all of the stressors, the losses, the trauma, the rage, the resentment I had since I crashed the same year the mortgage and real estate market crashed.
I wouldn't have lasted this long in the entertainment industry if I hadn't taken a few risks. But I'm also a realist because I've seen it all. Gold gives you everything the stock market.
A lot of black men out here.
So during that time, I went to 5 different therapists. Now, I wasn't shy from therapy because my mother, bless her heart, she was ahead of her time. She took me to see a therapist in high school. We're talking in the 80s. The good thing is it ended up being family therapy, and we learned a lot of tools and strategies that really benefited us. But when it was my time, during 2008 to 2013, it felt differently, right? But I still went. I went to 5 different ones. The first 4, nothing. It was cool to share my struggles, but I didn't get any help. Why? Because it was irrelevant, right? The practitioners who did not look like me were culturally incompetent. They meant well. I didn't have time to teach them about my lived experiences. I needed tools and strategies. I needed them like yesterday. So after going through 4 different therapists, I gave up on therapy. I knew I was in trouble. It was evidence in my life. I still didn't know where to go. Good friend urged me to take one more attempt to finding a therapist. So I did. Found this gentleman. Walked in his office. I knew the drill, right? Sat down, poured out my heart, right, for the next 30, 35 minutes. And at the end of my spiel, the gentleman looked me in my eye and asked me this question that forever changed my life. He said, "You ever thought about becoming a therapist?" I said, "Man, what? Are you kidding me? I'm here for therapy. I'm not here for career coaching. He said, no, hear me out. He said, look, I am about to retire. I've been doing this 35 years. I've seen black men come and go. I can't help them. I don't think the entire mental health industry can help them, but I think you can. I said, what? He said, yeah, you're not clinically depressed. You're emotionally exhausted. You're sad. You're angry. You're devastated, right? You're going through trauma. You're grieving, but it's not clinical depression. It's the unique experience of being a black male in this country, right? I'm not asking you to give up on therapy. Just find someone who looks like you. Better yet, become the person you're looking for. You are your own solution. And I left out of his office feeling.
That's so heavy. That's with anything else. You are your own solution. I had to learn that, figure that out. I was that person that was, all right, we gotta figure, like, do this. All right, I need this person to help me do this. I need that person to help me do this. I need that person to help me do this. I need that person to help me do this. And we're gonna all put it together. But a lot of people just don't care what you got going on, what you wanna do. You feel me? A lot of people just can't help. So you gotta be your own solution. You just gotta go out and do it. Figure it out. You feel me? That's my experience.
Defeated, right? Devastated, right? I was pissed. Walked out of it. I said, okay, no worries. I'll figure it out. As a matter of fact, I'm not doing anything. 3 weeks later, I started to feel better. His words touched me spiritually, mentally, emotionally. I started feeling lighter, right? Things started to make sense to me. He went on to say, go back to school. Let your journey be a part of your healing. And somehow I think this is your purpose. This is what the last therapist told me. And that's what I did. That gentleman was a middle-aged white guy. So I did what he told me, right? It makes sense. He said, it's no accident you're here. I did it. Didn't necessary training. I dropped out of PhD program so I can add D to that list of Ds I started off with, right? So I got back in school. I had nothing else going on. It changed my life. So now I spend my days supporting black males, those who care about them and love them, and those who are raising them with a unique approach to black mental health struggles. You see, the struggle is because black men are not being taken care of in a way that really touch, moves, and inspires them, right? Black males, we don't do well with one-on-one, right? We don't like isolation. We definitely don't do well with labeling. You know, in the hood, we call that name calling. We don't do well with that, right? We don't do well with code switching when it comes to our lives, right? And we definitely don't have time to break down our lived experiences from others who need some type of explanation before they can give us some colonized version of how we need to go about healing.
We all we got. Black males we need to help other black males. I forget. Black males need to help other black males.
So I set out to create a unique experience for black men to address the black male mental health struggle. You see, it's
black males need to help other black males because we the only people that know how we live. We the only people that can understand our own lived experience. Like dude just said, the last therapist told him, man, I can't help you. I'm a middle-aged white man. I don't know y'all struggles. I don't know y'all lived experience. I don't know what y'all go through. I can't even understand how the system works against y'all. I can't help you. You feel me? The only people that can help us is us. That's what I really mean to say. I'll break it down a little more.
Black males, I found out we need some things. We know a lot. We just need it in a way that we can use our own language to get it, right? We know about breath work, right? We know about meditation. We know about yoga. We're even for the dialectical approach, the cognitive behavior approach, right? We good with relationship and individual therapy. We'd rather have it in group, barbershop. That's where we're comfortable, right? Most of us have had some type of sport, so we get the importance of breath work. We get that. We just need it to come from someone who looks like us and who has walked the walk and talked the talk, right? See, as black males, we don't do what you say. We do what you do, right? So if you could tell us, show us, guide us, walk with us, we on to something. And that's what I did. So how does that look? How does that work in terms of sustaining the existing mental health industry? Well, we have to take more of a uncolonized approach to black mental health. We have to encourage one another that there are certain signs and symbols that are indicators of distress and not necessarily mental disorders or mental illnesses, right? But we need to be able to convey it to this unique group, black males, who have been born under racism. Because racism, aggression, and microaggression, born into that, makes something of you, right? It's exhausting. So when you start adding on debt and depression and divorce, you get the picture. You have now become exhausted, right? Not necessarily a mental illness, but things are definitely out of order, right? So that's what we need. We need the existing practitioners to become culturally competent on what this means for the people they serve. We need young college students who are black, preferably male, to be encouraged to go into mental health, right? We need the existing black practitioners to be amplified and elevated, right? And we need all of us to know that there is a unique experience for black males that starts when we are born, mostly caused by racism, right? Exacerbated.
Did y'all see that study that said like racism, or was it like slavery or racism? It was so bad that it literally changed our DNA. It literally physically changed us. Did y'all see that? And also, I want to get the scripture again, Ecclesiastes. I think that's how he says, chapter 7, verse 7. For oppression makes a wise man mad. You feel me? For oppression makes a wise man mad. And a bribe corrupts the heart. The end of a matter is better than its beginning. Patience of spirit is better than haughtiness of spirit. Do not be eager in your heart to be angry, for anger resides in the bosoms of fools. But for oppression makes a wise man mad. So he's saying, like, from the day we was born, we've been in oppressed. From the day we was born, we've been in a system of oppression. You feel me? So from the day we coming up and already mental gymnastics and craziness going on. Already, it's just from the day we was born, it's already drama and BS waiting for us that we gonna have to deal with. That a lot of us can't deal with. That's why a lot of us be exhausted and a lot of us go mad. A lot of us kill ourselves. A lot of us kill another one of us. A lot of us do drugs. A lot of us do all type of craziness because of this oppression, and it's making us mad. It makes a wise man mad. Imagine we didn't have to go through all of this oppression. We'll probably be wise like King Solomon. A lot of us probably be wise like King Solomon. Let's keep it going.
by unemployment, increased with PTSD symptoms due to violence, right? And it starts when we're in elementary school with suspensions and special education referrals. So I implore all of us to sustain the existing mental health industry. We have to take into consideration the uniqueness of the Black male mental health struggle. That goes for first responders on every level. That goes for clergy, university, teachers, students, nonprofit organizations, right? Law enforcers, lawmakers, politicians. All of us have to be re-educated on what that means uniquely for Black males and our struggle. And in the spirit of the late, great Earl DMX Simmons, in order to speak for the people, must walk amongst the people. Rest in peace, Dante Wright. Rest in peace, Adam Toledo. Rest in peace, George Floyd. Thank you.
Shout out to Curtis Jasper, man. Curtis Jasper, that was a real powerful, message that he, that was just a real powerful message that he told us, man, that he spoke, man. Like, Black men, we go through so much, just Black people in general, but he was just talking about Black males. Like, Black men, we go through so much. So much. I was just having a conversation with somebody earlier, saying, like, man, like, when I get home, I just want to be loved. Like, just hug me. Because niggas go through so much. Like, Black men, we go through so much just out and about in this world. Like, so when I get home, I just want to be loved. Just hug me. You feel me? Like, it is, like he said, like, a lot of it may not be, anxiety. It may not be depression. It may just be, you just exhausted from all the BS, man, that goes on, like, from a child all the way to your adulthood. But we got another video, man, our last video. It's called Keeping Silent About Depression is Killing Black Men. Every Black man needs a therapist. Black boy, shout out to, what's his name? Black boy, you need therapy, man. So shout out to Curtis Jasper. He just told us how, you feel me, we need to go, Black men need to go to therapy, and there needs to be more Black therapists. You feel me? So now we about to see what Black boy, you need therapy got to say about it. So let's get to it. Matter of fact, I'm about to fast forward it to right here.
Just like before, if you like this video, go ahead, smash the like button, hit subscribe. And if you really like what we're doing here on this channel, make sure you click the link to my Patreon and become a patron.
Hold on, let me find out this is my manager. And he got a YouTube. Let me find out, bruh. I think this dude, I think this dude that work at my job. Yo, if it's you that work at my, if this is dude that work at my job, shout out to you, bro. I see you out here keeping it low key and don't tell nobody at the office. You feel me? But shout out to you.
Patron. So today we're gonna talk about how Black men, how we keep so silent about our depression, and it's killing us in many different ways. And opening up about depression, even though it's difficult, it is very, very difficult, is something more and more of us need to do to save ourselves, to save our families, to save our communities. I mentioned in my last video how showing vulnerability is often viewed as a sign of weakness. And even when it isn't, even when we aren't being outwardly told that it's a weakness, it's something inside of us that we just can't help feeling. Trust me, I know, I'm no different. There's been a lot of talk about how we need to open up more and show our vulnerabilities, but there hasn't been a lot of acknowledgement as to how difficult that can be. Being vulnerable, even to people that you care the most about.
Man, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I've been vulnerable to, like he about to say, to the people I care, that I thought cared about me. I've been vulnerable with those type of people. They threw it right back in my face. I had one person tell me, "Oh, you just want to tell me your problems, so you just throw that energy on me, and you just want to keep me on negative time and this and that." Like, dang, I thought we was together. I thought I could tell you anything. I thought I could come to you. But if that's how you really feel, I just keep to myself. That's why I feel like a lot of black men don't really like to be vulnerable, because every time a nigga be vulnerable with somebody, it always backfire. It always backfire.
Is hard. Is hard. It's really hard. It's something I've struggled with my whole life. And I'm sure if you're watching this channel, it's something that you've struggled with yourself and still struggle with. I think part of it is we feel like we've just given this person power over us in some way. And you know what? In a way you have, because you've given this person a very personal part of yourself that potentially they could use against you. We find this happen in relationships. You know, you get into a bad argument, and the first thing your spouse or your significant other does is that they throw your most vulnerable moments back in your face. And that makes you not want to open up to anyone. I've certainly been there. I'm sure most of you have as well. At the end of the day, it's still worth it.
Yes, sir.
And if you don't feel comfortable opening up to people closest to you, this is why you need to go get a therapist.
He has a point.
The main point of a therapist's job, besides helping you deal with your emotions and your traumas and helping you sort through the mess of your life, because all our lives are messy one way or another. Besides that, the main role of a therapist is to be non-judgmental, to be objective, to support you where you need support, but also to hold you accountable when you need to be held accountable. One thing that we have to realize also is that depression in black men presents itself differently than it does in other people. Oftentimes in black men, it presents itself as being overly aggressive, bravado, hypersexuality, because those are the only emotions, the only presentations of emotions that we're allowed, or that we feel we're allowed to show to the outside world. And these presentations do nothing to solve the problem. In fact, it's only making things worse. One of the first symptoms of depression in black men is anger. Yeah, that's right. I said it was a symptom of depression. Anger. Anger is the go-to emotion for so many black men. I mean, my entire life, I can bring up countless boys, men, teenagers who their go-to reaction is to snap. Their go-to reaction is to cuss somebody out, get into a fight. My father definitely fit this role. His go-to reaction was to cuss you out, to raise his voice, to throw things. When it came to me and my brother, it was to give us whoopings. When it came to my mother, it was usually to storm out, accuse her of spending too much money or sleeping with someone else.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't like how you put like pops like business out there like that. I ain't gonna hold you. And give it off like y'all little niggas was my bad. If y'all was acting bad, you feel me? If y'all was acting bad, if y'all little kids, y'all deserve a whooping, y'all gonna get a whooping. Now I'm depressed because y'all need a whooping, y'all just gonna get a whooping.
And then go to the bar and get drunk. So what does this anger do to black men's families?
Nah, that's real though. That's real what he said. Nah, then go to the bar and get drunk. A lot of black men dudes, like they don't know how to really cope with their emotions, so they just go get drunk. A lot of them go smoke their cigarettes. A lot of them go smoke some weed. You feel me? Like, so that's real what he just said.
To our spouses, to our significant others, to our children, what does it do to the community? We project our pain onto the people that we're supposed to love and protect. And all that does is that it feeds this trauma loop that never ends. We pass our trauma on to our children, and our children spread it out through the community themselves, and they in turn pass it on to their children. Another symptom of depression in black men is loss of focus. And this is something that I know a lot about. Now, I'm a writer, and I've been writing really my whole life. But for the last few years, I really struggled to get anything written down. What often comes with that loss of focus is losing interest in things that once brought you joy. I'm a martial arts instructor. I'm a writer. Those two things bring me endless joy. After a long writing session, whether it be good or bad, my mood is always lifted. But for the last several years, especially while I was still struggling with the guardianship, my writing output just went down and down and down. And same thing with martial arts. I've been teaching martial arts for 20 years now. Oh man, now I feel old. So anyway, I can't think of a time when I haven't been excited to go to the dojo. Teaching, whether I'm teaching an advanced class, whether I'm teaching the kids, the beginners, the intermediates, the dojo has always been my second home. It's been the place that I go to when I'm feeling down, and I always feel better when I walk out. At one point, I realized now, at the height of my depression, I couldn't muster the energy to go to the dojo. And when I went to the dojo, it felt like work for the first time in 20 years of teaching. When I looked on my calendar and it was my time to go teach a class, I would shrug and roll my eyes. Oh, I do not feel like going. More and more I felt like this. And it wasn't until I started therapy that I realized that that was a sign of depression. Another symptom of depression in black men.
Man, I felt like that. I felt the same way he felt about the dojo and the jujitsu and all of that. I felt like that about basketball. When I tell y'all, like, when I said I quit basketball, and I told them I'm not playing basketball no more, because it just wasn't fun. Like, basketball used to be so fun. It used to be so fun. Basketball used to be a thing where I could do. Basketball used to be a thing where something I can do, and like, I feel like all my problems is gone. I feel like all my problems is, like, all the worries I had was gone. Like, I didn't have to worry about anything while I'm playing basketball. I'm feeling better, everything. I'm not stressed out. Everything feels good. But when I start feeling like low and depressed and all those things, like, I didn't want to hoop no more. Like, I didn't even want to touch a basketball. Like, I didn't even want to go to a basketball court. You feel me? Something that made me so happy and joyful. Like, it just made, like, I just didn't want to do it. I just didn't want to do it. But when I got too stressed out, when I got too depressed, you feel me? When my anxiety got too bad, that was the first thing I went back to was basketball, because that's something like, that's originally something that just made me so happy. It wasn't, the weed didn't make me, like, the weed didn't the weed didn't help me with my depression or my anxiety, or sometimes the weed made it worse. You feel me? What really helped was going back to the things I love to do. You feel me? Going back to the things I knew made me happy. You feel me? Going back to the Most High God. Going back to playing basketball. You feel me? Just going back to the things I love to do. I love to create. So I started creating. I just started doing all the positive things like that I love to do, and that really helped with my my anxiety, my depression, and all this stuff. I think I'm babbling right now, but let's get to it.
Probably one that you're not surprised by is substance abuse. So many of us, we use, whether it be alcohol, whether it be weed, whether it be harder drugs. A lot of black men, we use whatever tools that we can to numb our pain. My father was definitely a functional alcoholic, and the bar was his refuge. He would go numb the pain and come home only to pass out, get up 4 hours later and go to work. And I'm ashamed to say, at the height of my depression, I did my best imitation of that routine. And that brings me to the last and probably most serious symptom of depression, and that's suicidal thoughts. Suicide is the third leading cause of death for black males between the ages of 13 and 25. And I mentioned in my
And that's crazy because I remember growing up, that used to be a white thing. That used to be a white thing. That we used to joke about that. We used to joke about that. We used to joke about that being a white thing. We used to say, you know, black people, we ain't gonna do that. We used to say, you know, black people, we go through everything. You can put us through anything, everything. We is not about to kill ourselves. But now, fast forward years later, through all the oppression, all the craziness, and all the things that's going on that we didn't fix, that the past generations didn't want to fix. And like he said, the continuously cycle that continues to go on. Now we got our young black men killing themselves, and it's sad. It's really sad, man. It's sad. That's why we all need to come back to the Most High God.
My last video that I know all about this, even though I was definitely older than 25. I came to therapy because I had a bout of suicidal thoughts that wouldn't go away, that caused me to seek treatment. And I guess the best way to start is to start from the beginning. In 2008, I became the legal guardian of my mother. My mother was diagnosed with vascular dementia. She'd had a few mini strokes, and as scary as that was, her dementia was mild. And it still is to this day. Everything else was the same. Her long-term memory was great. She could talk all day about her favorite movies, her favorite novels. So when I became the guardian at 25, I thought, no big deal. I can handle this. Just put all the bills on auto pay. Make sure she doesn't leave the oven on. Guardianship will be a breeze. Yeah, I was in for a rude awakening. For those of you who don't know, being a guardian of a parent or a grandparent can quickly consume all your time, all your emotional energy if you don't plan correctly in the beginning. And I most certainly didn't. Because becoming a guardian to a disabled person isn't just about keeping the bills paid. It's about maintaining their estate. It's about lawyers. It's about making sure their debts are paid. It's about their mental health. A lot of the elderly, especially the disabled, are very, very lonely, and they struggle with loneliness and depression themselves. And my mother most certainly did struggle with all those things. And being a guardian is also about dealing with other medical issues that crop up later on. A couple years into guardianship, my mother started dealing with mobility issues. She went from walking on her own to walking with a cane to walking with a walker. She started to have incontinence issues, which required maintaining adult diapers. It required cleaning her bedding every day, every morning. It required making sure she gets regular baths.
That's unconditional love right there. That's that unconditional love right there.
Which had to become more regular after she started soiling herself. And dealing with her mental health was very difficult when she started soiling herself in public. The first time me and my brother, we took my mom to the movies. I don't remember what we went to go see, but all I remember is her having an accident and me not caring. Me and my brother, we don't care about embarrassment. We don't care about what other people think. But seeing the look on my mother's face, the look of shame when she soiled herself, is something that I wouldn't want to wish on my worst enemy. And I could barely contain my tears at that time. That is a look I'd never seen from her. And it's a look that I would never want to wish on even my worst enemy.
It's crazy how life works. Like, you born into this world, your mom taking care of you, your mom changing your diapers, your pull-ups, getting you dressed, feeding you, you feel me? giving you baths and all of that. Then as life go on, you get older, your mother and your father get older, and then they need help. Now you gotta help them. You feel me? Now you gotta help them get the baths. You gotta help them change their clothes. You gotta help them if they use the bathroom in public. You gotta help them with that. Like they helped you when you was a little boy. You feel me? Now it's like a whole role reverse change. It's just crazy how life work. It's just crazy how life work, man. It's like you go right back to like a child when you get a certain age. When you get older and at a certain age, you go right back to those things you did as a child. That's crazy.
Being a guardian is hard when you're 25 and you barely have a grasp on your own life, your own finances, your own goals. And I realize now I wasn't ready. Her health started to decline in other ways. I mentioned her mobility issues. I mentioned incontinence. Then in the summer of 2017, she was diagnosed with breast cancer, and for which she had to have a double mastectomy. Everything was falling apart. We were just barely keeping up with the mortgage. And it all came to a head in 2018 when the court decided to remove my guardianship. They weren't happy with the way that I had maintained things. She was still deep in debt, as she had been when I took over as guardian. And I didn't do a good job of alleviating any of that debt. The house was going into foreclosure really soon, and I'd let everything pile up. Her debt, her health, and I felt like 10 years out of my life had all been for nothing. My number one goal at the beginning of taking over guardianship was to keep her out of the nursing home. And just to put the rotten cherry on top of a shit sundae, my girlfriend of almost 4 years picked that exact time to break up with me. I never congratulated her on that timing. That timing was impeccable.
And y'all remember in the last video what Curtis Jasper was saying, how he was going through one thing happened after another. He was going through this. His mother got cancer. Then this happened. Then he got a divorce too. Then this happened. Then that happened. Then this happened. Like everything just piled up. And now we hearing him talking about like how his mom got sick. His dad was a drunk. His dad was abusive. He didn't say his dad was abusive, but his dad was going through a lot of things. Then his mother got sick. Then his girlfriend he got kicked off of guardianship because the bills was piling up and he didn't know how to handle that because he wasn't ready. And then in the midst of that, his girlfriend broke up with him. I'm like, all of those things is just piling up on him. Like just how Curtis Jackson in his example, how everything was just piling up on him. And that's how I be feeling sometimes. I feel like, dang, like, man, Most High God, please. It's like, what's going on? Like, what's going on? But let's get to it.
And I realize now that the biggest problem I had was that I wasn't talking to anybody about it. I wasn't talking to anybody about my trials and tribulations of guardianship. I didn't talk to anyone, not my friends, my family. I didn't open up to anyone about the difficulties I was having, and I was having a lot of difficulty. And that led me to November of 2018. I felt like I'd failed at every level. I felt like I went to bed the night before at 25. I'm getting short stories published. I'm getting good feedback from editors. I have a whole novel completed. And my future was right around the corner. All my goals, everything I wanted was right around the corner. And I woke up the next day pushing 40 with nothing to show for the last 12 years, except for failing my mother, failing my family, and failing in my relationship. Now, I've always been a hopeful guy my entire life. I've always looked on the bright side. But for the first time in my life, I felt like there was no hope that anything would get better. And that led to my suicidal thoughts. And that led to me calling the suicide hotline and starting therapy. The best decision I've ever made. So where do we go from here? Well, we have to start healing. We hear this word so many times. Healing, healing. We need to start healing. How do black men heal ourselves? You know where you start? You start by opening up. You have someone you trust in your life. It could be your best friend, your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, a relative, a close friend, anyone. When they ask you, are you good? And you're not, tell them, I'm not good. And for those of you who can't, take that first step. Find a therapist and start the road to healing.
Kiss the booth, bro.
And we gonna end it right there. We gonna end it at that. That was a good note, man. Take the first step to healing. Black people, black men specifically, we need to start healing for our community, healing for ourselves, and healing for our kids, man. Because without us, man, our community falls, our community fails, our community is garbage, our community is trash without us, man. So when we come up, you know, our community come up. When we come up, our women come up. When we come up, our kids come up. So let's get our mental health right, because our mental health not only affects us mentally, but it affects our whole body physically. You feel me? So it's imperative that we get it right, and let's get it going, man. I want to leave y'all with a scripture, First Peter's 5:7, casting all your care upon him, for he careth for you. And when you read it in the Greek, when it says that care means anxiety. That care means anxiety in the Greek. So it's saying let's go back to it. So it's saying casting all your anxiety upon him, for he carries for you. So like the man said, you need somebody to talk to the Most High God. Pray to the Most High God, because the Most High God is telling, put all your problems on him. Put all your anxiety, whatever you have anxiety about, whatever you're depressed about, whatever you're going through, whatever you're stressed about, put it on the Most High God, because the Most High God got you, because he cares for you. He listening to you. He understands you. So talk to the Most High God. You got a dad, talk to your dad. Talk to your brother. Talk to anybody that you know that's going to care and listen to you.